All right. So I should simplify that and get x plus 2 finished up. Questions?
So if you left it as that and didn't do simplify, would that count as wrong or?
Well, it's not really wrong, but we should always try to simplify our expressions as much as possible. Whether it's fractions, decimals, radicals, functions, let's always try to simplify as far as we can. Good rule of thumb, all right? All right, number 2, translation, 2 units left. So I'm putting it in for the x. So 2 units left is x plus 2. I can distribute the 1/3. It's just if there was anything out front of my absolute value sign, then I don't distribute. I just leave it out there. Okay? So I distributed the 1/3. I got the absolute value of 1/3 plus 2/3. Okay? So the first two are right and left. Number 3 and 4, we got up and down. That's the y. And remember, we can write these as y equals. So whatever's on the right side of the equation or the function is our y. So we just add or subtract right on the end of it for translations up or down. So 5, we're going to just, maybe, did I skip them? Oh, I just skipped 3 and 4, I guess. Because all we're doing is subtracting 7. So the 2 minus 7 gets you the negative 5. And for number 4, all we're doing is adding the 6. So it's the negative 1 plus 6, and we get 5 on the end. Okay? Those are pretty easy, I think. But any questions? Okay, so 5 and 6 are reflections. Okay? When we reflect about the x, we're changing the y. So we're taking the opposite of the y, or opposite of the whole thing. That's what I did here. And then you can, since it's not absolute value sign there, I can distribute that in there. So it's negative 1/2 x minus 8. So I just rewrote it as y equals 1/2 x plus 8, and then we took the opposite of it. So just here was the example. If I started out with the point 2, 2, and I reflect about the x, the same distance, 2 away, my y changed from positive 2 to negative 2. If I was reflecting about the y, okay, I went 2 to the left, my x changes because this point is negative 2, positive 2. So the x changed when it's a reflection about the y-axis. So I take the opposite of the x for number 6. Okay. Oh, number 6 isn't there. That's 8. So what I did for number 6 is I just took the opposite of the x because it was a reflection in the y. Okay. Questions? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6? Okay. 7's a vertical shrink by a factor of 1/5. You just vertically, you're just multiplying by the whole thing because it's y, vertical up and down. And so we just multiply 1/5 times the negative 5x, and 1/5 times negative 5 is negative 1. So the answer is negative 1x, or just negative x. I don't know why I don't have that one there, but here's 8. Okay, so 8, a vertical stretch by a factor of 4. So we multiply 4 times the whole thing. And the 4 can go in front of the absolute value, but we don't take it inside. Remember, we don't distribute into an absolute value. But you still can distribute the 4 times the 2. And I didn't finish that. I don't know why. So it's 4, absolute value of x plus 3, and then plus 8 would be our final function there. Number 9, we're not doing horizontals, so We're not worried about that. It just gets kids more confused, and I think we're getting confused enough. All right, number 10 is another vertical shrink by 1/4. So again, you're doing it 1/4 times the whole thing. So that was the original. So 1/4 times that -1 makes the -1/4. We don't go into the absolute value, and then 1/4 times -4 again is -1. Okay. Questions? All right. So here 11 says, so we got f of x equals x. Is it here? No, it's not there. Let's go to the next page. Look at 11. Let's go through this together. All right, so I'm going to write it as y equals x instead of f of x, just so remember what we're doing. Okay, what family is this? Linear. Okay. Write a function g whose graph represents a reflection in the x-axis. All right. So the first step, g, reflection of the x, is just taking the opposite of the whole thing, right? So the opposite of that is that, step 1. Followed by a horizontal stretch by a factor of 3. Did I change it to vertical, didn't I? Didn't I mark that out and put vertical for number 11? Okay, so I gotta mark it here so I don't say horizontal again. We're not gonna worry about the horizontal ones. So my answer is probably wrong that you saw for 11, because I did it as horizontal, right? I didn't change it on mine. All right, so a vertical stretch by a factor of 3 just means you're multiplying 3 times the whole thing. So 3 times the whole thing makes it -3x, right? 3 times -1x is -3x. And a translation 5 units down, so 5 units down would be -5. So if you had that, you did it right. I did it as a horizontal one last year, but we decided not to do the horizontal ones this year. Okay, so my answer sheet that you guys were looking at is for when it was horizontal, not when it's vertical. Okay, number 12 was that word problem we talked about yesterday, revenue and profit. Okay, so the revenue was f of x equals 25x for making paintings to sell. Your profit is $5 more than 30% of the revenue. So I'm going to multiply this by 0.3 and then plus 5 because it was $5 more. What's the profit for 12 paintings? So we put 12 in place of the x. All right, comes out to $95. 13, just get rid of this. All right, so there's the problem, okay? Our parent function, remember, is just f of x is the absolute value of x. So what they did first is they reflected it about the x because of the negative out front, negative for the whole thing. It's a vertical compression or a vertical shrink by half because it multiplied a half times that. And then they went a translation down 6. So there was 3 transformations in that problem. So if you see the negative, that's a reflection. If you see multiplication, that's a vertical stretch or compression or a shrink. And then if you see on the end plus or minus, that's up or down. If there was a plus or minus inside, then it would have been right or left. Questions? You okay with that? All right. So 14, last year I didn't make the kids do that one, but this year I said, why not? All right, so let's look at 14. So here's G. We have to fill in some blanks. Equals something in front of the absolute value of x minus something plus something. Okay? And the original was this. So if it's a reflection in the x-axis, what happens to my 3? Negative. Followed by a translation 3 units right. Okay. So 3 units right of that, do I subtract 3 or add 3? Subtract 3. So -1 and a -3 makes it a total of -4, right? 2 units down. So what do I do with the 8? Add 2 or subtract 2? Subtract 2. What's 8 minus 2? 6. Does that make sense? So this was the original. So we were doing it to that. That's what it said, right? Yeah. So that the G is followed by explain your reasoning. Okay. Now, if we were just looking at this, okay, and thinking of our parent function as being this, what's that tell us what's happening? Vertical stretch by a factor of 3. What's this tell us? Translation, right 1. Yeah, translation up 8, right? You guys seem to be getting it. Have any questions at all? Okay, so today I have another worksheet, but this is the practice quiz. Okay? You've got the rest of the period to work on that. We'll go over it Monday, then your first quiz will be Tuesday. Okay? Yes, Kayla. Yes, you may. You guys have done a really good job so far. And I know I've been talking a lot. Hopefully, once we get through this transformation chapter, this first chapter, things will give you more time and not me talking as much. Okay? All right. Thanks for your attention.
Come on.